Hello there friends and welcome. This is an updated version of my Skald guide with builds for both a two-handed Skald and also a ranged, dual-wielding throwing axe Skald. Skalds are probably my favorite of the new classes in Wrath of the Righteous because of how amazing they are. Their special, Inspired Rage ability works just like a bard song in that it will empower your entire party members, pets included, with a variety of different bonuses, including the Barbarian Rage powers, which tend to be self-only, not with a Skald. You can, for example, give an extra bite attack to all your party members, stacking natural armor class, more attack bonus as competence, even the super powerful Pounce ability for full attacks when charging, and lastly, a very rare increase in the critical multiplier damage of all of your party members. The class also has quite a lot of bonus feats, so can be very versatile, martial weapons proficiency and even spellcasting, including some of the best of the mage buffs in the game such as haste, and even their unique spell, Good Hope. It is a very stacked class, and when combined with the Trickster Mythic path, you're getting a massive amount of criticals, while also providing the ultimate party support. So without further ado, let's get started, first with our two-handed Skald build. Alright, so as far as archetypes, I actually prefer going with the base Skald. I suppose you can make a case for Court Poet if you have a caster-heavy party, because your special Skald song, instead of increasing your AB and damage, it will increase the intelligence and charisma of all your party members by a very rare morale bonus, by +2 at the start, +4 at level 8 and +6 at level 16. But I find this a bit overkill. Most parties I imagine are going to be heavy on melee, which is where your normal Skald song shines. For race, well, as usual, I really like going with humans. The extra feat does matter a lot, especially because as a Skald we are going Trickster, and our mid and late game feat selection is pretty tight because we have to get all of the Trickster special critical feats. That's not to say you cannot go with another race, I just prefer humans. For our two-handed Skald, which is the one I'm going to talk about first, go with Pickpocket. For ability points, 19 Strength, 12 Dexterity, 14 Constitution, and the rest of the points go into Charisma. We can just increase our Charisma higher through headbands. Now, as a Skald, I also recommend you dump your Wisdom and then start with 12 Intelligence, because this will get us an extra skill point, and for Skalds it does matter, as they do have every single one of the skills in the game as class skills. Ideally, for a two-handed Skald, any Skald really, you want all of the knowledge and also lore skills, because we do get our class level added as a bonus to these skills, so you'll always make any checks with them, and they are pretty plentiful in the game. For another skill, I would go with Athletics because of the very high synergy it has with the Trickster Mythic path, and we do get high strength too. Also, Intelligence is going to help us when it comes to getting the Wizard's Spellbook through the Trickster path, so it's a win-win situation. For your level 1 feats, Lingering Performance is always a must for any Skald. This feat will highly increase the uses of your Skald song by making it last way longer. As I will show you later on, you can just activate your Skald song, then deactivate it right after, and that will be enough for it to last around 3 rounds, and eventually you'll have enough song uses to last you whole dungeons, with ease. For the second feat to our two-handed Skald, go with Power Attack. Skalds also get a free bonus feat at level 1. As far as spellcasting, the one we want the most is Extend Spell. It can help when it comes to spellbook flexibility and increasing the duration of some of your spells, especially the low-level buffs like Haste and Blur. As far as spells, please remember I already have a guides here linked to the side and down below in the video description about the best arcane spells in the game, including spells for Skalds. So to keep it simple, Grease is always great even with low charisma at the beginning of the game, and also Cure Light Wounds because Skalds are spontaneous casters, so you can always cast this for some nice early game healing. Deity choice is up to you, but since we are going with Trickster, go with any deity that allows a chaotic alignment. I'll go with Kidden myself, I think it really fits the Skald and Trickster character. Now for alignment, you should certainly go with Chaotic Good. For level 2 we already have a Skald bonus feat. Go with Combat Trick, and then Cleave. This way we already have what is pretty much 2 attacks just at level 2. Very nice for the early game. And then remove Fear to handle Fear at the early game. For level 3, we gain our first Skald Rage power. I would actually choose extra rage power as a normal feat, just so we can get 2 very useful rage powers right at the start. So go with Animal Fury to give all of your characters a bite attack whenever you use your Skald song. Bite attacks are special in that they will stack with whatever other attacks your characters have, including other bite attacks. So this is pretty much an extra attack at level 3 for all of your characters. And then for your normal rage power, Lesser Beast Totem. This won't really matter much for your characters, but when it comes to pets, it can actually grant your pets 2 extra claw attacks, which is perfect for pets like the dog and the wolf, pretty much the best pets in the game, because they only come with a bite attack, so just at level 3, your dog and wolf will have a normal bite attack from their progression, 2 claw attacks from your Skald song, and then another bite attack from Animal Fury, so your dog and wolf have 4 entire attacks just at level 3. It doesn't get any better than that. For another spell, Unbreakable Heart is very useful to remove the annoying Confusion status ailment. At level 4, increase Strength, which is also what you're going to increase on all of the other levels. Charisma isn't actually that useful for a Skald. For level 2 spells, Heroism and Skalds do get this earlier than even Wizards. And then Blur. For level 5, go with Cleaving Finish, so we get yet another attack whenever we kill an enemy. That's 3 potential attacks we have at level 5, actually 4 because of our Animal Fury rage power. For more level 2 spells, Mirror Image, for the very powerful self-defensive buff. For a level 6 called Rage Power, go with Lethal Stance to highly increase the attack bonus of your party members, and then Sense Vitals for a very powerful Sneak Attack buff. For level 7, Outflank as usual, it is a must for any melee character. And then Combat Trick and Combat Reflexes to increase our attacks of opportunity even further. For level 3 spells, the choices are a given. Good Hope, one of the best area of effect buffs in the entire game, and then Haste of course. For another level 3 spell, Displacement, for the concealment effect. For our level 9 feat, go with Seize the Moment to finish our attack of opportunity feats. And then the normal Beast Totem power, to increase the armor class of all of your characters. This will actually stack with other sources of natural armor class, so very useful. For another level 3 spell, I like Remove Curse because as spontaneous caster we can always cast this if we need it. For level 4 spells, Echolocation, to let your Skald bypass any concealment the enemy might have, and then Freedom of Movement, a very solid buff overall. For level 11, Improved Critical, and then Falchion. You can also go with Fall Shards if you prefer, but Fall Shards require exotic proficiency, so you'll have to spend one of your feats in it. I suppose you can ignore either Cleave or Cleaving Finish and get proficiency into Fall Shards, but Falchions are very solid too. And as for Reach, remember you can always give your character Reach to enlarge person, and also legendary proportions later on. For more level 4 spells, go with Greater Invisibility. For a level 12 Rage power, Greater Beast Totem, to give all of your party members the Pounce ability. For a level 12 bonus feat, I would go with Improved Initiative. It can help your Skald when it comes to activating his song to empower all of your characters as soon as battle starts, if you aren't able to do it before battle. For more level 4 spells, I actually like Dimension Door, because this will let you access some secret areas, especially during chapter 4, and as a Skald we can just cast it whenever. Now before you enter level 13 progression, as any Trickster character, remember to get Perception rank 1 and rank 2 Mythic tricks at Mythic 4. So now we can at last get started on our special Trickster critical feats. The first one being Improved Critical and then Falchion. Our Falchion will eventually get 10 to 20 critical range, meaning half your attacks will be critical hits. Doesn't get any better than that. For your level 5 spells, Greater Heroism and also Greater Dispel Magic. The other level 5 spells don't really matter that much. For a level 15 feat, another Trickster special feat. As for a rage power, go with Deadly Accuracy, so we can later get Lethal Accuracy. For our level 6 spells, they honestly don't matter that much too. The best Skald spells are all the low level ones, up to level 4, for very powerful buffs. Brilliant Inspiration is kinda worthless when you have Fortune hacks, and we don't really have high difficulty class for Overwhelming Presence and other debuffs, so I would just go with Maskat's Grace. I suppose you can also go with Eye Bite, because it does let you sicken an enemy with no save as a swift action. For level 17, the last of our Trickster special critical feats. As a bonus feat, because you really already have the best ones by now, I would just keep it simple and go with Weapon Focus and Falchion. For your last Rage power at level 18, Lethal Accuracy without a doubt. As for level 19, I would just go with Meta Magic and Completely Normal Spell for spellbook flexibility, especially for your very powerful high-level trickster spells like Trick Fate, so you get even more castings of it. Now let's talk about mythic progression for our Skald, first with the two-handed version. Close to the Abyss is probably the best here because you gain an extra gore attack, so that's another attack per round that you have. But you can also go with Instrument of Freedom to empower your allies' attacks with the Holy property, very useful too. So if you want more buffing, Instrument of Freedom. If you want an extra attack per round, Close to the Abyss. Your first mythic ability is pretty simple. Ever ready to enhance our attacks of opportunity, and as a high critical build, which all tricksters are, we'll get plenty of them going. For Mythic level 2, Mythic Power Attack to increase our damage, especially because we are a two-handed character. For Mythic level 3, I'd say you have two choices. You can go with Last Stand if you want to increase your defenses and survivability, which do matter a lot for your main character, after all it is a game over if we die. Or also Mythic Charge to get your charge damage going, especially as we are soon getting the Pounce ability from our Skald song, for even higher damage, so the Mythic Charge bonus will apply to every single one of your attacks per round, it's that crazy. I think early on I prefer Last Stand, especially for new players, for the extra survivability. As for your first mythic trick, go with Knowledge Arcana 1 as usual. Remember that I already have a full Trickster guide linked to the side here, where I explain in depth what each one of these mythic tricks do. For now I'll just keep it shorter. Your mythic level 4 choice is very important. Improved Critical Mythic and then Falchion or for Shard. And here comes the fun part, Perception rank 1 and also Perception 2 rank. So you can get access to the special Trickster critical feats. Always remember to level your character to Mythic level 4 before entering level 13 plus progression, so you get access to those feats. For another Mythic trick at level 5, go with Athletics rank 1, to increase the chances of us removing status ailments from ourselves, and later on, to easily pass any saving throw. This is also why we go with Athletics as a skill. For level 6, go with Mythic Improved Initiative as a feat, and then infuse Magic Device, and reuse Magic Device as mythic tricks so we can get access to the very powerful Wizard spellbook at the next mythic rank. This does also give you infinite uses of wands, which can help a lot with some wands like the Wand of Heal. For mythic level 7, Elemental Barrage, because at this level we can get the Wizard spellbook, with some very powerful self-buffs to easily let us proc this from added elemental damage. As for mythic tricks, Knowledge World rank 1. And then of course use Magic Device rank 3. For Mythic level 8, we actually already have the best of the Mythic abilities and feats by now. You can go with Mythic Sneak Attacker because we do get Sneak Attack as a Trickster, but the difference isn't going to be that great. Or also Flawless Attacks. You can even get started in the Enduring Spells line for 24 hours buffs, so I'll just keep it simple and go with Archmage Armor for higher armor class, although we are a rich character that can attack from decent range. Still, more armor class can always be useful, just in case. For mythic tricks, Law Religion rank 1, and then Knowledge World rank 2. For mythic level 9, well, you can go with Unrelenting Assault if you want more damage, but it's not going to matter that much at this point in the game. Limitless Rage won't work for our Skald song, just in case you're wondering. I'll just go with Enduring Spells, and then for a mythic trick, Lore Nature rank 1. For an improved trick, Athletics rank 2. And if you're wondering about your level 10 mythic progression, because we do have the DLC now that extends the late game, I would go with Athletics rank 3 as a greater mythic trick, and for a mythic feat I would actually get a mythic ability instead, Greater Enduring Spells. Athletics rank 3 can be pretty good for a trickster because it does increase your attack bonus even higher than that of a level 20 character, usually something that only legends can achieve. If you cast a transformation spell on your character that you get from the Wizard spellbook, you can get 25 base attack bonus instead of the maximum of 20, and this will increase the damage of your power attack. Alright, so let's talk now about our ranged Skald, in this case with dual throwing access for a very high amount of attacks per round. As usual, go with default Skald. Human 2, as I said, the build is somewhat feat starved, so human does help a lot. Your background selection is different from the two-handed Skald. We want regional, and then Miwangi Hunter, because this will grant a bonus to your throwing weapon attacks. For ability points, the focus should be on dexterity, with also a little bit of strength. We can get higher strength to the size increasing spells very easily, some constitution, I don't think you need as much as a two-handed Skald because we are attacking from range. Some Charisma, as usual dump Wisdom, and then some Intelligence for the Wizard Spellbook and an extra skill. For skills, all of the lores and knowledges. I would go with Use Magic Device here, but because we have high dexterity, you can also go with Mobility or Stealth. Now, just as a note about skill points, you don't need that high Use Magic Device, so you might as well also go with Athletics, even for your ranged Skald, because of the synergy it has with the Mythic Trickster abilities. So besides your lore and knowledge skills, also be sure to invest into Athletics. For feats, the first one should always be Lingering Performance. And now the usual for a ranged character, Point Blank Shot and also Extend Spell. For spell selection, I have already covered this in the melee section. Deity as usual, any deity that allows the Trickster alignments. For level 2, Combat Trick and Precise Shot, a must for any ranged character. For level 3, go with 2-weapon fighting. And as a rage power, if you have pets like the dog and wolf, Lesser Beast Totem earlier. Otherwise, go with Animal Fury because at the very least, it's an extra attack per round for all of your party members. At level 4, increase Dexterity, and this is also what you are going to increase on all of the other levels. For another feat at level 5, Rapid Shot can be delayed for later because we do already have more attacks per round as a dual wielding character. I would go with extra rage power and little stance for now. This does actually apply to your thrown weapon attacks too, so your throwing axes. For a level 6 power, Lesser Beast Totem or Animal Fury if you didn't pick it before. For a level 7 feat, Deadly Aim to increase our damage, especially useful when dual wielding. And then go for Rapid Shot as well. For level 9, Improved 2-weapon fighting for even more attacks per round. And then Beast Totem as a rage power. For level 11, the choice is simple, Improved Critical and Throwing Axe. Throwing Axes don't have that high critical range by default, but with a Trickster we can eventually get 14 and 15 to 20 critical range, pretty powerful. For a level 12 Rage Power, Greater Beast Totem for Pounce. For a level 12 bonus feat as a Skald, you can go with either Weapon Focus, Throwing Axe. Cluster Shots doesn't really matter that much, we can easily bypass Demon's Physical Resistance with the Covenant of the Inheritor Relic. Many Shot won't work with Throwing Axes. Hammer the Gap isn't that useful. So I would just go with Improved Initiative for now. As a ranged character, the sooner we can act, the better to snipe annoying enemies like casters and other ranged enemies. Plus we get to catch them flat-footed for lower AC too. And as a dexterity character, we have very high initiative by default. Now before level 13, as usual for any Skald, be sure to get Perception rank 1 and rank 2 mythic tricks by leveling your character to mythic level 4. So your level 13 choice is simple as usual for Tricksters. Improved Critical Throwing Axe. For level 15, Improved Critical Throwing Axe. And then Deadly Accuracy. For level 17, the last of the Trickster special feats. And then Combat Trick, Greater 2-weapon fighting. We do get this somewhat late, but as a Trickster there's not much you can do because your level 13 plus feats are all spent as soon as possible with the Improved Critical line. For level 18 Rage Power, Lethal Accuracy. As for level 19, go with Meta Magic, completely normal spell. We do already have the Wizard Spellbook by now. Just as a note for my final skill selection, Athletics is something you should definitely increase to 20. Your knowledge and lore skills, you don't have to maximize them to 20 because our Bardic Knowledge class ability will highly increase them regardless. And Use Magic Device, you don't really need that many points spent into it. Alright, so let's talk now about mythic progression for our dual-wielding Throwing Axe ranged Skald. Close to the Abyss isn't going to be useful for you because it does require you to be at melee range. So my preferred choice here is Instrument of Freedom. For your first mythic ability, the usual for almost all ranged characters, Cleaving Shot. So we get to deal some area of effect damage when killing enemies, but most importantly when dealing critical hits with our ranged weapons, which is very easy as a Trickster. For Mythic level 2, Mythic Deadly Aim. For Mythic level 3, I would go with Distracting Shots for the very nice penalty to armor class whenever we attack the enemy against melee to support our pets and other melee party members. Your first Mythic trick as usual, Knowledge Arcana rank 1. For Mythic level 4, Mythic Improved Critical Throwing Axe. And then of course Perception 1 rank and Perception 2 rank for the Trickster special critical feats. For Mythic level 5, go with the bigger they are, as a lot of the dangerous enemies in Wrath of the Righteous do get size penalty to their AC, which helps us use this ability for even better attack bonus against them. For Mythic Tricks, Athletics rank 1. For Mythic level 6, as a Mythic feat, I would go with Mythic Rapid Shot to remove the annoying penalty, and then as Mythic Tricks, the usual Infuse Magic Device, Reuse Magic Device. For Mythic level 7, just like with my melee Skald, your ranged Skald should also pick Elemental Barrage, because we do have access to a Frost Throwing Axe, and then with the aid of the wizard spell Firebrand, we can proc Elemental Barrage just fine, for Fire and Cold. For Mythic level 8, you can go with either Mythic 2-weapon fighting or Improved Mythic Initiative. I prefer the Mythic Initiative for now because at this point we already have quite a lot of attack bonus from buffs and so on. For another trick, Law Nature rank 1, and then World rank 2, for better criticals. For Mythic level 9, I would just keep it simple and go with Less Than for the extra layer of survivability, especially in the late game where enemies are a lot tougher. Most important for hard and unfair. You can also go with Archmage Armor, but you know we are a ranged character, we aren't going to be getting hits that much. For another trick, I would pick Religion rank 1, and then Athletics rank 2. As for Mythic level 10, Mythic 2-weapon fighting as a Mythic feat, and for a greater Mythic trick, Athletics rank 3. You can also go with Knowledge World rank 3, and then respect your other party members so they get access to any feat as early as their starter levels. Alright, so let's talk now about gear for our Skald characters. First, the two-handed version. The amulet slot is the same for all the characters, so Velexia's Magnifying Amulet. Armor doesn't matter that much for us because when it comes to two-handed we have reach, and as far as our ranged Skald we have range. But for the beginning of the game we should certainly go with chain shirts and later mithril chain shirts. The robe slot is up to you, usually robes that increase your skills such as the Shirt of Blazing Fighter for a +5 competence bonus to athletics. For belts that increase your strength and constitution for two-handed, or strength and dexterity for the ranged Skald. But the ultimate belt for both characters should be the Mangling Frenzy, because it grants you an additional 46 points of slashing damage when under any rage effect, including Skald Rage, for even higher damage. And as a trickster, we have, well, the ultimate critical range. The glove slot is the same Fencer's Gift because it will increase the damage of both dual wielding and also two-handed weapons. For boots, well, when it comes to the two-handed Skald, you can go with the Boots of Stampede to increase the power of your charge attacks. And since we have pounce, our charge attack will hit like a truck. Even for the two-handed Skald, you can also go with Ronak Sacrifice, of course. For the helmet, Shy Lady Helmet is great for the profane bonus to strength and armor class, but you can also go with early game headbands that increase your charisma, and late game headbands of mental perfection that increase both your charisma and also your intelligence to cast all of the wizard spells. The goggle slot is the same, Piercing Gaze for the insight bonus to attack and damage rolls against demons. Cloaks, as usual, Cloaks of Resistance with the highest modifier. For the ring slot, Ring of Imminent Demise for the bonus to two-handed attacks. And I also like the Ring of Evasion since we do have decent reflex. For braces, you can go with Braces of Armor of the highest value for more armor class, unless you get the Archmage Armor spell later on. The braces slot doesn't really matter that much for us. You can always rely on your lucky braces too that you start the game with. Weapons is where things get really different for our builds. So as a two-handed character we are going with falchions, but you can also go with falch shards. And Finian is pretty much the best choice for the late game, because the Brilliant Energy property will let you easily bypass up to 9 points of armor class from the tough to hit enemies. And you can always enchant it with other useful properties like Evil Outsider Bane and Holy. As for quick slots, the Wand of Heal because we get infinite uses of this, a Greater Quicken Meta Magic Rod for buffs like Trick Fate, the Dragon Familiar Jarsigax for more elemental damage and elemental barrage proccing, the Signet of House Vespertilio to increase any skill of choice, I often go with Athletics, and also the Old Grimoire for more spell casts of early level spells, and most of our powerful buffs are low level spells up to level 3. Now when it comes to gear for our ranged Skald, the slots are mostly the same besides, well, for the boots you certainly want Ronak Sacrifice for the massive increase to dexterity. I have a guide link to the side here on how to get this very missable, very overpowered pair of boots. And as far as rings, Merciless Shot for the bonus to point blank, Braces of Armor just to increase our armor class, but not really that needed. But anyways, what really matters are the weapon slots. We are going with Throwing Axes, and the best combo is first Fixed Obsession, and then Nordic Welcome. I also already have a guide link to the site here on how to get the best throwing axes and their uses. Instead of Fixed Obsession, you can certainly turn Finian into a throwing axe as well for your main hand, but Nordic Welcome is certainly a welcome addition to your offhand, because the ice damage when combined with fire damage from the Firebrand spell easily procs Elemental Barrage. Alright, so let's test our melee Skald in action now, and this is without the Trick Fate spell, and also not counting our sneak attack damage, because well, we are basically soloing the enemies here. Start by charging because of Pounce as usual. That was fun. Everything just explodes. We could of course get way more attacks by attacks of opportunity when combined with our party members. So, on a critical hit we deal 547 damage, not counting our other procs of the same attack. 102 here from Elemental Barrage and some Elemental and Holy damage too. So that's around 700 damage on a critical hit. Just look at all the procs of damage. You can certainly go for even 800, if not more. Meanwhile, on a normal attack we deal around 110 damage, not counting all of the other procs, so certainly up to 200 damage and so on. Now let us see how our two-handed, dual-wielding throwing axe ranged Skald fares in battle.
I am your end, should have run! Swoon, my gift to you! This will hurt!
So on a critical hit with our ranged Skald, we can deal, well, certainly more than 400 damage. We have our normal hit here, Elemental Barrage proccing, that's all from the same hit. Meanwhile, on a normal hit, I'd say something like 120 damage or so. So a normal hit here, Elemental Barrage, and so on. Another critical hit just to show all of the damage stacks from the same attack. Certainly makes for a very fun build. And we can get 10 attacks per round too. Alright everyone, so this was it for my updated Skald guide. Once again, it is a very solid class overall. And because we don't have any Skald party members, it's probably the best choice you could have for a main character class choice if you truly want to support all of your party. But you can always leave it to mercenaries as well, or even upgrade some characters as Skalds like Scylla, Camellia or Amber. If you think I missed something, then please be sure to comment down below. If you found this guide useful, then please remember to like, subscribe, and even consider becoming a channel member to support it if you can. Thank you for watching, see you next time, friends!